Welcome to Create and Orchestrate. Today, we're going to talk about how to transition from worker to owner. I'm Marcus Whitney, and this is Create and Orchestrate. All right, so great question at the Nashville Lifestyles influencer event this morning. It was from someone who is currently working inside of another organization and trying to figure out how to make the transition, right? How do they be more entrepreneurial in their own workplace? How do they have a side hustle? And how do they do that while they're still trying to manage a relationship with the people who they work for? So this is a topic that I'm really passionate about because I think personally I learned a lot about how to be a great entrepreneur through this transitional process. And I've done it a couple of times, and it wasn't until the last time that I did it, I think, that I actually got it right. And it had a lot to do with my momentum and the quality of the businesses I've launched since then. So basically what I want to say is do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? It is really hard to be a great owner if you don't know how to be a great worker, right? And how you make that transition, how you leave, how you relate to the people who you work for, is going to directly reflect the value system that you put in place in the business that you have, right? So if you want to build an organization of people who are honest and transparent with you and definitely place your priorities as their priorities when they are employed by you, you need to pay that same amount of respect to the person who you're currently employed with. Right? It's pretty simple. From there, it's just a matter of understanding whether or not the person who you're working for, the organization that you're working for culturally, is going to fit with your transition, right? So some organizations are very friendly towards side hustles, right? They're very friendly towards extracurricular activity. They're very friendly towards taking an entrepreneurial approach inside of the company. So if you happen to work at one of those companies, quite frankly, stay there a long time because that's great, right? As long as you're in an environment where they're going to give you a lot of freedom, a lot of support, but also kind of support you from a financial perspective and benefits and things like that. There's no reason to leave until you're really ready to make that leap. Not every employer is like that. Not every manager is like that. And so at that point, then it becomes a question of how long can you continue to work in this environment where it's not going to be compatible. And then once you decide that you have to leave, how you leave is so incredibly important, right? Just think about it like karma. Whether you believe in karma or not, just trust me, it will happen, right? Don't just leave an employer with like 2 weeks when you know they're depending on you that third week, okay? Don't do that. That's bad, right? Be respectful. Understand that if someone has hired you, almost certainly they are depending on you for something. And you probably know what they're depending on you for, right? So if you want to go off and kind of do your own thing, that's totally fine. But just remember, you would never want someone who was working for you to leave you in the lurch after you had employed them and treated them well, right? So don't do that. Be respectful of the relationship that you've established with your employer, with your manager. Give them plenty of time. Make sure if there are any critical things that they are depending on you for, do those things, right? And collaborate with them on your transition, right? Almost any decent person who is an employer or a manager, if you are straight up and you give them proper notice and you say you'd like to work with them on it, man, they will respect you. They'll give you great recommendations down the line. They might even help you with your next business. I've got a friend who currently is in this situation, went to his employer with plenty of time before he even was giving a notice, was like, hey, I just want you to know this is my intention, right? The employer is offering to invest in his new business, right? It's all in how you leave. It's all in how you leave, right? It's all in how you respect the person who's employing you and who's managing you. So just understand that you want to treat your higher ups the way you want to be treated as a higher up. It works. I promise it works. So that's basically the answer to that. Like, that's how you make the transition is, You don't be so selfish that you forget that somebody's actually depending on you. And when you do that, you'll have the same perspective and respect, and hopefully you'll attract great people who would treat you that way as well. Hope it helps. One love.